Hi, how are you? Connect in and just sense it. How are you on the inside? How's your weather inside of you? How's the weather in your home? Whether you're alone or with people. Sometimes, in some of our lives, things are starting to show up that need to be dealt with. And I want to invite us all to just connect to what's happening. And I've been thinking for myself, and in response to everything I'm seeing in the news and in people's social media, about how important it is right now to be tuned into inner authority. And it's a time I'm seeing so many of us under pressure, whether it's parents who are trying to homeschool the right way or people who are trying to do the right thing at work but are struggling with home circumstances, or even all the ways we might be feeling the injustice in the world and wanting to respond. And I think it's so important to be aware of connecting inward first, because the right response is going to emerge from inner knowing, not from following outer rules or directions or even demands. And that's such a complicated thing to say, because I think a person could listen to that and say, oh, well, I can just do what feels right to me. That's not at all the same as following inner wisdom. Inner wisdom has no need to stockpile toilet paper, right? Inner wisdom is not in competition with other people and does not perceive other people as truly separate. Inner wisdom knows we're interconnected. So let's not use inner wisdom as a cop-out, but as a way to come home to simple, powerful truths. Because if you are feeling whatever pressure to be or do something, I would recommend let's all check in. Is that pressure from inside or outside? Part of what I have been noticing a lot of is people saying, and I'm sure this is in response to a lot of stuff I'm not saying, but people saying you don't have to use this time to, pick up a new hobby or, learn a language or get fit. And I totally get that and agree, but I think at the same time, kind of maybe you do. If you call yourself to, if you're feeling called to that, right? So, like, just say for exercise, if you're exercising because there's an outer expectation, people think you should be doing something new or you want to be like looking a certain way, it's really different than if you are feeling called to exercise because your body feels like it needs it. Maybe because it makes you feel healthy. Maybe, something in your system is asking to be strengthened, but also maybe it's just giving you some emotional, mental balance. And so I always cringe when someone says you don't have to start working out. Because, why? How do they know, right? You don't have to do it for me, right? You don't have to do it for us out here. But ask yourself, do you have to? Because I feel like I have to go outdoors every day. I have to go for a walk or a run every day. Because if I don't, something inside me is not okay with it. And something inside me then gets stuck in feeling cranky or and not that it's not okay to feel cranky. It's just I don't want to feel cranky because I'm not taking care of my own body, right? So when we shift from the idea someone out there knows what we should be doing, either because they're telling us what to do or because We have to somehow please them by being a certain way, by being smart or good enough or put together or not put together, right? Like, oh, maybe some of us are carrying this idea we shouldn't dress the way we want to dress because we should sit around in sweats all the time like everybody else is. Well, some people love to get dressed, right? If that's you, maybe you do have to, right? Because what do we have to do? We have to nurture the inner knowing. We have to nurture, not the inner knowing, we have to nurture a response to the inner knowing that connects us more and more deeply to our truth, to the truth of the soul that is really in charge of the action plan for these vehicles we're traveling around in. So if you're called to be doing something, even if it seems not a big deal or unconventional or a little weird, it's a good idea to really go in there and sense what's calling me. Is this my soul talking? Is this my ego personality? Is this the collective? Is this the culture? Because each of those things we can respond to in different ways. Maybe sometimes they all agree. They all want us to do something. A lot of times they don't, though. So, tiny practice. With all that stuff kind of stirred up, it's a good idea to sit and learn how to sense what the inner wisdom is telling us. And for me, first of all, that goes best when I've been outdoors already, or when I've walked or run already. Like, it's much easier to listen to the inner wisdom when I used up some energy and I connected to nature. I don't know how that is for you. It might be true, it might not be. We're not the same, right? But then for me, it's sitting and just sitting still and just noticing. So bring your awareness inside for a couple moments and extend it. Just pause and keep going if you could use a real practice. It's just a short one. Connect inward. Feel the breath come and go. And see if you can hear what's happening in your own mind. It might come in the form of actual words or directions. Like, go move the laundry. What are you doing? It might come up more in a sense of mood or pictures or story. It doesn't matter. Just see if you can sense into what's happening. And each time you sense whatever shows up, story or words or energy, greet it, kind of thank it for coming to your attention. And see if you can just drop a little deeper underneath it. Noticing, and then kind of relaxing down, softening, letting go of control, and connecting inward with what's real in your system, your breath, your direct experience. And so take a couple breaths and then come back to regular attention, or just pause and just keep going with this. It's something to play with in your own practice, because you don't have to fight against the outer or the thoughts or the busyness. There's a process of almost each time you notice them, just relaxing a little bit, letting go. Dropping down and noticing just whatever the next level is, because there may be I don't know, maybe it's an infinite number of levels of outer stuff, because I feel like I could keep going forever. But it's how we get to know where the inner is and how it shows up. Not by pushing away the thoughts and the feelings and the sensations, or controlling them, or somehow disconnecting from them, but by just noticing them and then letting ourselves slip down more fully down into our own inner self. So try it. Please, if you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Just send me a message or ask in the comments, and I'll try to explain more. But it's like one of those experiential things. Just try it. See how it is to not fight against the thoughts or stuff coming up, but notice them and drop down. And also see how it is to take the voice of your inner wisdom seriously. Like, to not dismiss it, to not avoid it, but to take it really seriously. Like, this is a part of me that knows things, and I'm going to listen even when it's uncomfortable. And one last thing, for most of us, it's a process. You might listen to what you really believe is your inner voice, and it turns out that there was a lot of other stuff tied up in it. That's how we learn. It's fine. It's how we learn. Okay, thanks for listening, and sending you good wishes.